Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Immergence Show. And I'm your host, Nico Farah. We talk about the latest and greatest in emerging tech and immersive experiences. We have talked about various aspects of getting involved in these new technologies, new movements for amplifying your brand, for connecting with your community, and for being part of this revolution of the internet. And today we have an amazing guest who started from doing music festivals to then come to the worlds of metaverse and NFTs and Web3, building the first collection of NFT billboards and amplifying different projects and communities to now helping and connecting brands, agencies, and creators in various virtual worlds and gaming platforms. Thank you so much for being with us, Nodo. I appreciate you. Please tell us more about yourself.
First of all, hello everybody. Good morning. Who is in US? Thanks, Nico, for being here. And basically, I'm very excited to talk about my journey and then bring the real case studies. And then anybody interested listening or will be listening later would be happy to provide some value to them. And as you mentioned, I'm co-founder and CEO of MetaView, and then also co-host at Beyond Pixel Show. And then I'm very happy to have a nice conversation with you today.
Awesome. I appreciate it. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you got in this space, and then we can go through some of the case studies. Tell us what excited you about all of this.
Yeah, it's a very exciting story, right? So all my life was taking me in different directions, but every industry I was involved, I was trying to make changes regionally, globally, or in my country. And then back in my 18s, I started my first companies. I was organizing electronic music festivals and pushing this industry in my country, which was pretty new in 2010, right? And then at the same time, I was having digital agency teaching people how to run Facebook ads, how to create the Facebook pages back in 2009. That's where basically I always do the comparison to this space, right? Back then I was like 17, knew everything about the Facebook and explaining to all the grown-ups how to use this platform because I was digital age, right? And then right now, again, I have people who are 16, 17, and 18 who advise me how to use Roblox and UGC gaming platforms as this new immersive media, which is basically are developing in front of our eyes. And then basically, like I jumped into Metaverse space from my experience while doing electronic music festivals. And then when I first heard about Decentraland back in 2021, I right away just grabbed first land. Everybody was laughing like, how did you buy a piece of code, which is not land at the end of the day? But I had the vision like, let's host the music events and have the DJs in Decentraland, right? So I was like using as a hobby. And then while getting connected with so many landowners in Decentraland, I found out it's amazing community, right? Like you are meeting your neighbors. You have the chance to meet your neighbors there, invite them on the parties and meet network, right? And then I was missing something in Decentraland. Okay, there were some events, some activities, but nothing was going on, right? So I thought we as a landowners, we need to monetize our lands in some way. And then that's how back then we created first ever decentralized advertising networks through the NFT billboards. So the landowners were able to deploy those billboards in their lands, and then advertisers will be able to advertise on their worlds. Billboards was nothing innovative at that time, but we specifically chose OH advertising because it was so easy to understand by many brands, agencies, and advertisers, right? And then it enabled us even to play some games. We were like making people to do the portal jumping from a billboard to another, hide some presence, and then it was like cool thing overall 2021 and then first half of 2022. But we all know that basically decentralized metaverse world or immersive platforms never really realized in terms of user base, because I think some of them were too early, and then most of the users were coming to get gains, not just usually play. Even though even in Decentraland we had the chance to, together with amazing creators and game builders, we built amazing games, including like Sandbox and Decentraland, we were not averaging many users because overall Decentraland was getting 50,000 users monthly, right? Which is nothing in today's terms. But we tried hard. We integrated Coca-Cola and many other brands. We were showcasing people that this industry is moving forward. But at the end of the day, we understood that we need to grow up. That's when in 2023, we broadened our outreach and added Web2 UGC gaming platforms like Roblox, Fortnite, Minecraft, and a couple others, right? But it's so difficult to get to know all these platforms, all their unique things. It's so confusing even for many brands, right? We've heard a lot of us like, what's the Roblox, what's the Fortnite, but trust me, like 90% of them never even played those games, right? And then I was like trying and then like bringing those agencies and brands on those virtual worlds, showcasing them. Even I was hosting events, and then you should see how different attitude people had when they actually saw what they are getting in, right? So that's the first thing, like, which I love to showcase people and give them education. And then back in 2023, as I mentioned, we did this huge pivot, added all those platforms, but how we should get all the information on, there's so many information about every gaming platform. Only Roblox gets so much information around, right? That's when we created the MetaView's gamified experiences marketplace. That's how, when you announced we are connecting brands, agencies, and creators together, we onboarded lots of gaming studios building games into Roblox, Minecraft, Fortnite, Decentraland, Sandbox, Spatial, and many others. Currently, we cover 10 platforms. And those gaming studios, we are hosting their active games into our marketplace. And on the other side, we were matching those games to the brands who were pretty new in this space and wanted to integrate there, right? So this gave us so much new opportunities, right? And then we slowly became connectors and then information hub, which basically we used back to share those information with agencies and creators. We knew what problems were happening with the gaming studios or creators and what problems were facing brands and agencies, right? And then today we will be discussing like more about this through different case studies, real time examples. And I always love to compare like historical facts, what I have seen while building lots of things and then connecting the dots. And then there is not many new things we are seeing today. And as I always mention, we are just seeing new media channel or advertising channel basically creating in front of our eyes, but it doesn't mean that other channels will be going away because we still have newspapers, we still have radio advertising, we still have TV, but different age groups are watching different ads. And then I always say marketers like, you should guys advertise in every channel where your customers are. If Gen Alpha and Gen Z are in Roblox and new immersive media, that's where you should spend your most bucks, right? But if you're advertising to later age groups, you might go with digital or radio, TV, or newspaper, right? So yeah,
totally. Yeah, I agree with that. Especially because human needs and wants do not change, no matter what the technology platforms are. So we have to go back to the basics. And I actually love that because I was reading your one of your first white papers or light papers, and you mentioned about kind of like going around the topic of virtual world advertising, decentralized ads, and everything. And you talked about need creation. And the example of how we don't really need cow milk, but they're making us believe that, and stuff like that. So if you can expand a little bit on kind of how you define this decentralized advertising or advertising in the virtual worlds, and how it is benefiting or has been benefiting everyone involved.
Yes. So first of all, like decentralized advertising basically was pioneered by the Brave browser with their Brave attention token back in 2017, right? It's so early. And then they were paying their token in crypto for people who were enabling ads on the Brave browser and at the same time engaging with the advertisements they would like to see, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like kind of attention-based economy, which also rewards users while engaging with the customers. And then today we see a lot of this, right? So whole immersive space is experiential advertising campaigns, which is rewarding the users for their engagement, right? And then it's pretty new thing because we've seen a couple of the cases even in the Web2 space before, but actually Brave was the first one to pioneer. And then we started like back in 2021 in Metaverse platforms, which we were enabling individual people, first of all, to access which kind of ads they want to receive in their ads, approve it or disapprove it. And then basically community was making sure which kind of ads should be going in and which kind of ads should be blocked. And at the same time, they were getting rewards while servicing those advertisements, right? And then, as I was mentioning, I was doing lots of research. I'm involved like a lot all my life in advertising, right? I have not mentioned, but I had couple startups and companies still operating in the different advertising fields like email marketing, SMS marketing, Wi-Fi advertising in major airports in Europe. And then basically I always have worked with agencies and brands, and I wanted to change something. I had this big vision, but at the end of the day, we have invested a lot, we tried a lot, we pushed the community, but again, in every advertising, if there is no community, there is no community increase, we couldn't do anything about it, right? So that was the kind of very good experience for us, for many brands we worked with. We even ran the political campaign in Decentraland for one of the US senators. It was the first case even back in 2022, right? So, and then it was so exciting, right? And she was doing fundraising through the blockchain, and then it was so nice fit towards Decentraland. But at the end of the day, even for political campaigns, when you have only 50,000 people monthly, even if you get 100% of the traffic, it's very minimum impact, right? So after that, we were just only using Decentraland basically for very niche advertising. So, for example, if other metaverse platform were going to launch, they had all the landowners in Decentraland Sandbox who will be more likely to buy their digital land. So we were doing more than Web3 type of project integrations in Decentraland, because even ourselves, we couldn't see too much of the value for Web2 brands to do any integration, even though in Decentraland, we've seen many emptied out branded experiences, starting from big major brands. I don't want to count on names, but in Decentraland back then, at least 65 huge brands did the activations,
Yes.
including Heineken, Netflix, Samsung, Doritos, and many others. So that was a huge, crazy era, and everybody was thinking, okay, we will get more users, but suddenly not. But that was my vision about the decentralized advertising. And then what's cool is that even now in Web2 space, in Roblox, Fortnite, or any space, brands are doing immersive advertising campaigns. It's again reward and attention based experiential campaigns, right? So UGC item drops, many other things. That's all like rewards, right? We couldn't see this in digital media like in Facebook. Hey guys, click on my ad and you will receive free cup of digital item, right? So that's what makes me happy, and I see that whoever tried this industry, we actually going to the right direction, even though decentralized couldn't realize what it intended to be.
Well, the story hasn't ended, so we're still working towards it. I think it's just like adoption of any new technology takes years,
Yes.
and
Yes.
usually the society is the slowest element of this adoption. So that totally makes sense. So you touched on a really good, important factor of like what differentiates this decentralized advertising or advertising in this virtual world from the traditional one, which is the audience, the community, the receiver of information is now part of the narrative. And that's very exciting. And that's why gaming and interactive experiences that include the audience into the narrative are actually the most successful into all of these. And the elements of like the fact that the landowners get paid when the billboard is in their land, or the fact that they can have a thing in what can be or cannot be advertised. So these are very interesting topics. And so let's get into some of the projects that you all have done. So you did, and you tell me which one you want to go deeper and share screen. So you guys did a partnership with Lululand, and then you expanded beyond the Decentraland and went to Sandbox. Do you want to share a little bit about that idea and perspective?
Yes. So first of all, like before jumping there, I would want to say to the listeners that like back then it felt like we were building 5-star hotel in Las Vegas in 1930s when there was huge desert and then nobody was doing anything. So I think like we were at some point too early, but you should try hard, because otherwise this industry wouldn't be developed in that way. And then I would for this sandbox, basically after Decentraland, we said, okay, we need to expand to the sandbox because we had community members, landowners from the sandbox who were basically asking us, hey guys, come to sandbox, come to sandbox. We went there, we partnered up with a couple big projects, Lululand and a couple other big builders. And through these AR collaborations, Sandbox has this kind of like unique thing back then. Like they were opening up Sandbox for 1 month and then closing down. This way they were pushing maximum number of user base to jump in. So it was like season 1, season 2, season 4. And then everybody
Yes.
we were preparing, if you remember, right? So, and then it was gone, right? So this was like kind of like trick to push the many users to join in this specific 1 month. And then that's when we were pushing advertisers, billboards, and everything inside, right? But Sandbox was one of the first platforms we actually started integrating brands and Web3 brands into the games. And then we started also integrating brands into games in Decentraland too. So this is like very natural transition. So we started with billboards. I personally hate billboards. It's something out of the world. And then I was always envisioning that immersive space is enabling you more than just putting billboard, right? If I want to see the billboard, I will go outside and look at it, right? And then this is like billboards, but yeah, don't that's how we started, right? There was no other way. You need to start with something people know. That's this couple of the events we were organizing in Decentraland, bringing lots of agencies, advertisers, showcasing how it looked like. So because it's so difficult for everybody to imagine without even like seeing anything, right? So we hosted like some international conferences, also brought some advertisers, but at the end of the day, yeah, billboards are still like, as I mentioned, something from the past. And then we slowly started sourcing different game developers in Sandbox and Sandbox and Decentraland, and we started integrating them into the active games. So what many listeners might not know, what strategies are brands using now in Roblox and Fortnite? Basically, we were using the same strategies back in the beginning of 2022 or at the end of the 2022 in Decentraland or Sandbox, right? They were like full-scale games. Users were coming, playing different activations, mini games, racing games like parkour, jumping, any type of game you would see in Roblox now. And then when they were collecting the points, we had the leaderboards, and then they were redeeming those points to the wearables, which is UGC items now in Roblox, right? Or in this space. And then wearables were just like, basically, if we can showcase like Coca-Cola's case, when we integrated them during the Christmas, it will be easier for listeners to see. So basically, like brands we were integrating into the games, users had the motivation to go through to different games. There were also billboards involved. It was like Christmas activation for Coca-Cola. It was 1 month long activation, which concluded with Coca-Cola's Christmas jumpers, right? It had only limited quantity, 1,000 of them. And then basically people were so crazy to get those 1,000 items. Whole month they were playing different games. All of them were gone very quickly. And then what's cool about it is that people start reselling them, right? So in 2 weeks after Christmas, this was the top resale in the marketplace of the Decentraland wearables, right? So it was a huge success, even though in Decentraland we had few number of players overall, because like there is maximum you can get, right, in Decentraland. We had lots of outreach on social media like Twitter, now X, and that's what brands we are using in Decentraland. Like they were impressing the users, and then most of the big brands were pushing outside promotion, and then they were using it as a branding that they tried something innovative. But at the end of the day, it was so fun experiences. There was like also like some big Web3 projects we integrated in different games. And then we had Metaverse platform advertising in Decentraland. And all this we've seen, we created all this experience, and then we jumped in the Roblox and saw all the same things happening there. It's very funny case, right? And then what's also interesting, most of the brands who started out in Decentraland, then they transferred to Roblox or Fortnite or other platforms. So that's why I love Decentraland, because it was really huge start. If you check even numbers, I love numbers. In 2022, we had, like, as I mentioned, 65, 70 plus brand activations, major brand activations in Decentraland. And in Roblox, there were only 5 or 6, right? Roblox basically and Fortnite boosted in 2023. And in 2023, we had more than 750 plus activations in Roblox alone, right? So that's a huge thing. And then we learned a lot, right? That's why I'm bringing those case studies, because everyone was so unique, right? And then even making those brands to approve those type of like innovative activations, kudos to them who jumped in early, because all those brands were experimenting, right? No, none of them were expecting any conversion. That's also very different. And then they were trying to give users fun, engaging activations.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Before we go deeper into this topic, I want to say thank you for everyone who is tuning in. I appreciate you all for always being part of this show and contributing. Feel free to put your thoughts, questions, comments in the chat. We would love to see them and respond, and we would appreciate your contribution. So, you touched on different topics, which I want to kind of get deeper into them. So a lot of the case studies I reviewed, a lot of work that you and others have done in this space are kind of following the same patterns. But you also mentioned earlier that certain type of activation or certain type of activities actually resonate more with the separate types of audience. So, for example, I noticed like among the activations and outcomes that you all shared, one which was with crypto slots was actually one of the most successful. And I think that comes from the nature of the audience community that you all were targeting and were active in Decentraland. Or even you mentioned the topic of like wearables and the resale, how successful that was. Back to understanding truly who the community is, what they're really looking for, and what they get excited about. We did a lot of things around Web3 fashion, digital fashion, and then we realized like a lot of folks in the Web3, they are more speculating and looking for like kind of like increasing the value of that NFT, not necessarily looking at the craft and everything else that goes into the fashion element of the item. So I think that's a very important factor. And if you want to go deeper into that, because they're not necessarily speculators. They are young kids that want to have fun. So tell us more about your perspective on that.
Yeah. So basically, like I always, like as I mentioned, always try to like compare those two, and then also explain people like and then brands, Web3 advertising versus like if you will be pushing those Gen Alpha and Gen Z young kids who are playing, right? So biggest difference is that those people in Roblox are playing for their joy, right? So basically nobody is pushing them go to the Roblox and play. They just enjoy. They don't expect anything. They just spend their time nicely, right? What's different in the Web3, how you mentioned, most of the people, at least 90% of them who play, they don't play for the joy. They just play for the rewards or getting some returns and etc. Right? That's why lots of brands, Web2 brands, understood this and then left the Decentraland early. But some brands really realized and then launched their NFT collections and gave additional like tools to Web3 users to try to like sell, resold. That was like case even with Coca-Cola, right? So we gave them wearable and then people find value reselling them, right? So it was the biggest like motivation for them. And then we understood that, okay, Web3 is amazing for crypto gambling companies, for crypto related projects, DeFi protocols, because in Decentraland Sandbox, there are people who actually looking for this type of solutions, not like some big bank or like Netflix doing some activations there, right? So this was like biggest difference between two audience. That's why with every brand, when we recommend right now or consult like moving into this space, we basically very nicely ask them like, what's they gonna be like looking for, and then which platform and niche audience will be good for them, right? So, and then what was like interesting in Decentraland, like the case you are showing, since in Decentraland we had very few number of people overall, what we are doing, we were creating like 1 month long activations with the games, and then involving a couple of the brands into the same game, right? So for example, like the case study you are showing, there was like crypto slot, SXBet, we had Web2 brands also integrated. So we had like at least 15 companies coming together with all the rewards, wearables, and then users were flocking like crazy. On daily basis, we were number one land with traffic in Decentraland, and then it enabled users to quickly come, play, and then get the rewards, right? For the crypto gambling companies, wearables had the utility also. For say your signups, they would be getting like double time deposit. For Web2 brands, they were like, we had a coffee company called Miyama, and then if users were collecting their limited wearables, which was only 100, they would be getting physical coffee cup in their home address, right? So this was kind of like first interactions of like connecting physical with digital, and then it's so nice to see now after 2 years so many people talk about it, right? And then it's exciting. And then as you can see, all these wearables are branded like UGC items. They have some price, and then that's what we were doing very actively in back in 2022, right? So
That's awesome.
that's
And you guys did a lot of promotion on Twitter X, and
yes,
that's how you drive traffic. So I think it's worth paying attention to how much overlaps exist between what maybe gaming has been also doing for so long as well. I started digging into streaming in Twitch and the gamer and streamer world, and we will have an amazing guest at some point that she's an expert streamer that would tell us more about this war. But I see a lot of parallels. Like one thing she mentioned to me is that like there is no actual like discoverability happening in a lot of the streams and Twitch. So then you have to go to other like X and try to drive traffic back to your platform. So you guys have been doing that beautifully with raffles and giveaways that actually incentivize and engages. And we see the same thing with Roblox and so on. Like with the, I think Paris Hilton activation for the Hilton hotels, and how when I played it, you had to go through so many steps. Now do this, now go back here, come back. It could be a little bit frustrating, but it kind of incentivizes the engagement.
Yeah, and then basically we were using like creators and some nice people in the Web3 space to promote our games, especially X or Twitter. And now we see lots of TikTok is used, and then Twitch to promote the new games when the brand is activating. And then we are also seeing lots of omni-channel activations happening right now. And then back then we were also doing like omni-channel activations, but in decentralized and in Web3 space. Right now, like there is a big trend coming in, and then many brands, especially entertainment brands and new like movie studios like Universal, Sony Pictures, and many others, using the cross-game omni-channel activations rather than building their own games. But we'll be like jumping on this topic, I'm sure, because this is very important, like how things are changing even now in the Roblox and Fortnite. Because even 1 year ago, people were doing everything differently like they do now. And then this space is changing almost on weekly basis, as you know. So, yeah.
Yeah, constantly evolving. And I want to go to the comment section and respond to our amazing community. But before that, let's talk about the results or the outcomes or KPIs that brands and participants into these activations are often looking for. Can you expand a little bit on what mattered, from the perspective of your partners, and how you went about kind of analyzing these areas?
Yeah. So basically, it's a huge difference, like who is activating Web3 brand or Web2 brand. For Web2 brand, basically, it was more branding awareness, and then basically they were just using this to brag about. They did some activations in Metaverse. That was like very early, right? 2021. So because there was no expectation what Web2 brand should be expecting out of this space, that's when now we are starting already connections, some conversions, and many other things. But Web3 brands, they had very nice conversion model, because in Web3 space, basically, you analyze all the wallet addresses who come to your game or who play. You don't know the names, but you know what they are in their portfolio. And then you can check if those wallet addresses really interacted with the Web3 company who is advertising, right? So you can see the conversion so nicely you cannot see in the Web2 space in this way. And then Web3 companies were expecting the conversion. And then Web2 companies were doing like outreach, massive outreach, like in X, Twitter, LinkedIn, and promotion outside of the decentralized or sandbox, right? And even now, like we see when brand is doing activation in Roblox, they try to have the huge coverage in any social media possible, including influencers, including different channels, right? So this is not like only one space activation, but I've seen many brands doing this way. And then we're always showcasing them like how much actual engagement they got inside the game, but what impressions we got from the people sharing, resharing in the different social media platforms. But numbers are very small, as you can see from Decentraland, but it was very big for the Decentraland at the time. So in Roblox, you are getting way more numbers than here.
Totally, but that was the best at the time with that type of audience. So I appreciate you going deep into that. So let's take a look at our comments and questions.
Sure.
So omnichannel, all things, totally, and also Ian made a good comment that GameFi could be the bridge between the Web3 world and the gaming world. Have you guys done anything in the GameFi space?
Yeah, so basically like as Jan mentioned, like Walmart and a couple other brands, big brands are try to use different channels and then create the whole 360 experience for their users. And especially like what I always mention, as millennials like myself, we are digital age, and then Gen Alpha and Gen Z are already slowly becoming immersive, right? Especially Gen Alpha, right? So my daughters who grow up, they will be like fully immersive, right? And then Walmart and a couple other early adopter brands are sensing this, and then they are trying to grow with their audience, and then those people will become buyers at the end of the day, right? And then what I like is that games becoming new social media pages. For example, like a couple years ago, back in 2018, everybody was laughing on TikTok and many other platforms. It's for the kids, and now every brand is doing activations, right? But in gaming, it's still very difficult. It's not like, okay, I'm gonna create my Instagram brand page and then do the activation. It's huge budgets, it's huge human resources, and then it's lots of manual work because there is no tools yet to make 3D production easier. There are lots of generative AI startups coming in we are working with, but still you need lots of man hours to do the game. And after doing the game, you need to do the support of the game. Nobody talks about this too, right? How much it costs to maintain the game. We all know that, like when I have the social media page, how much it will cost me to hire social media manager or outsource this to additional agency. And everybody knows it. But back in 2009, basically in Eastern Europe, we were setting the prices, how much they should pay for social media manager. And then nobody was social media managers. We were just learning on the go. Right now, I see like kids growing up in Roblox or Fortnite and Minecraft, slowly becoming, they are having their own businesses, they are becoming like gaming media managers, and then they are supporting the game development. Because many brands thought, okay, I'm gonna create the game, invest the money, and that's it. No, like if you don't update the game on every 2 weeks or every month, no user will come to your game. So I'm always warning the brands, if you guys would love to jump into this space, it's not like you do something and disappear. If you want to do something just short-term activation, which is very cool for many brands, that you can partner with already active games in Roblox, even through our marketplace. We had a couple of the cases, and then you will see, do you really need to jump at this space and have your full-scale game team and then support and etc. Right? So that's the like challenges what I see, but a couple of the big brands already find out very well, and then they are using AR, VR, XR, and many immersive space technologies to create full-scale experience for the user, starting from digital, going back to virtual, and coming back to digital. That's what excites me the most, and I always tell parents and everybody, right? So we are not moving into the metaverse. It's not scary. We should know how, and we should manage how it develops. but 3D is not a way anymore than now. And then we are moving into this immersive space. It's inevitable and it's exciting, right? We will be experiencing so many new things was not possible before. And every brand is understanding that. But yeah, we will have time to discuss also like budgets and stuff. This is very interesting topic for many, many, many brands and agencies want to jump into this space because budgets are so different regarding the platform, regarding the activation, and then it's not a very cheap option. I cannot even compare to traditional advertising channels, but what I've seen in the market while researching and working with so many agencies and creators, yearly spend while brands and from brands and agencies are increasing year by year, percentage of the immersive advertising spend compared to other channels, which excites me a lot. So
that's awesome. Yeah, and I think we should also touch on how brands should tap into the experts in this space, not necessarily the traditional agencies that have been doing the traditional marketing. The gaming world is totally different types of narrative, storytelling, influencers, everything else. And it's very important to kind of go with what they're familiar with rather than introducing the same old marketing concepts. So that's interesting. So before we get into the budget discussion, I would love to kind of touch on some other work that you guys have done through the case studies. You guys had brand ambassadors that would wear branded wearables and entertain and engage with the community. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Did you guys pay them? Is it something like voluntarily? Have you been seeing that also in the gaming world?
Yes. So yeah, this was one of the ideas which was very exciting for us at this stage, but we will see this development will come even further. Again, in many things, we were too early at that time, right? So brand ambassadors, basically, I took the idea from basically events I was going in physical ways. And when you have the people handing you out different branded stuff like t-shirts or etc. And then we were onboarding the very cool creators like group of 5 or 6 who were going in different places with the branded wearables, entertaining the people, taking pictures, dancing with them in the virtual space. And then at the same time, it was created so much good positive feedback and then lots of pictures, lots of videos and outreach in other social media channels. And then we also trusted to in Decentraland, we also tested AI brand ambassador, which was basically run by AI tied to GPT engine. And then instead of real persons, this AI was going in different leads and promoting the brand. It can ask the specific questions about the brand and etc. Right? And then I really think that we will see this kind of like development happening in Roblox at this time. But Roblox is like kids and things, right? But I really think that there will be like AI avatars who will be going around and then promoting brand, inviting people in the games itself. So in Decentraland, main thing we were using ambassadors for was inviting other people in other locations or from other games into our own game, right? So this was kind of like, go around, talk with some people. It's socializing, right? And then, yeah, I was very excited about this project. We used for a couple of the brands, but we have not transferred it in Roblox. I just want to explain to our listeners, like, we are not gaming studio, we are not agency, we are not brand, right? So we just like our independent body who is connecting all those industries together. We don't employ any gaming developer or studio. We always do all these activations through help of our creators, right? This gives me so much like happiness to see those creators getting work done. We help them to monetize their work, and then they are coming with so many innovative ideas, right? Even AI avatar in Decentraland was created one of our community member creator, right? So yeah, I think we will see this development coming in.
Yeah, you guys were kind of like Uber for Metaverse advertising.
Yes. That's how it is. And then we still continue to be like that, and slowly we transitions to be consulting company together with the marketplace, since we accumulate many information into our company, which is happening into this space.
Amazing. So yeah, I mean, you touched on non-playable characters. That one of the great companies actually that has been helping in the gaming world and metaverse virtual world is InWorld, and they are so good at what they do. They have done. I was at Game Developers Conference and I saw their partnership with NVIDIA and many others. So they have done really cool stuff. If you're looking for like, integrating into your platform or game, look into Imworld. And yeah, so the other topic that I think it would be helpful to touch on, your background was doing music and, those type of festivals. And then you did a partnership with Sensorium, which they were oriented on music and entertainment. Can you tell us a little? And they were the first AI-driven metaverse. Can you expand a bit on how they were different, and how the music and the entertainment ties back to all of the great tools that we have?
Yeah. So yeah, like I don't like to always mention like they were too early, they couldn't realize, but right now we see lots of concerts and entertainment is happening in the virtual spaces, and we will have more to come, right? Back then we have technical limitations, how many people we can have per server or per space, let's say. So if you had like 50 people, if you wanted to have like 1,000 people, only 50 people would see each other in specific server, specific space in Decentraland, right? Even though we were hosting lots of festivals and events, that was one of the idea how to bring more people into this space. It really was not the experience I was looking for, right? And then Sensorium was like promising that they will be able to bring world famous DJs. We all know like David Guetta, Tiesto, Richie Houghton, and many others, which I was really booking them like in physical life, right? I was excited. Wow, man, so cool it is that everybody from the world will be able to listen live gig from those famous huge DJs. Some people would never have chance to listen to them in live, right? Because live is totally different than pre-recorded sets. Who knows the music, right? And then it was so exciting. And then I was helping those people, like pushing them to advertising many things. We were helping them like with free advertising and stuff, because music is something which drives me crazy. It's my hobby, and still do lots of kind of like small events at some point, either in virtual spaces or physical spaces. Even recently we had the yacht party in Los Angeles. So that's kind of my roots, never going away. But at the end of the day, it said that those metaverse platforms like never really realized what they intended to be, because technology was not there. Right now we see this is coming. Fortnite is pushing actively to do this kind of like big concert and entertainment things coming in. And then, yeah, trust me, listeners, like we will be like entertainment will be fully moving and embracing immersive space. In the beginning, we were saying, okay, fashion industry is moving forward. It was the first kind of leader in this space. All the fashion companies tried like digital fashion shows and all the kind of stuff. Nico knows way better than me. And then now we see entertainment is jumping as crazy, right? Movies, IP brands, and many other things. Even if we check entertainment categories, top category users love in any platform. It can be Fortnite or it can be Roblox or other platforms.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. And I want to thank our community again for engaging in the chat. Feel free to share your thoughts. Chris asked about the future. We will get to that great question towards the end when we get to the predictions. So definitely we'll cover that. And I appreciate your comments, Ian, and always being so engaged. Awesome. So let's touch on very important topic of budgets and, kind of the types of experiences that you recommend to brands, the strategies around the brands, and then we can talk about also the creators. I think that's a usually, untapped area. A lot of exciting creative technologists, talents, artists that want to collaborate with brands and do activations in partnerships. Would love to kind of give them direction and advice. So let's cover those areas, but let's just start with the budget.
Okay, so first of all, like with the budgets, I would say that this industry and the immersive space is a bit different than the all the agencies and brands new in the Web2 space, because right now it's only one company who will be doing things for you. Basically, it happens industry-wide collaboration between a couple brands, and most successful cases we see on the market are by collaborating between different brands, like Sohorse collaborating with Geek, with Flaunt, or Super League collaborating with other brands. So without collaboration with different creators, we cannot be pushing the best solutions. That's one, which is very important. And the budget-wise, I would say right away for create brands and agencies. Many times budgets were scaring the brands to try out this space, right? That's why we had only big major international players who have all the budgets to try and experiment and explore this case, right? So all the way from 2021 till 2023, we were getting lots of experiments for big brands like Nike, Starbucks, Adidas, and etc., which led us to the next development, and then next development of more professional agencies and gaming studios coming up, like GameFam, Super League, Sophos Gang, Carta, and many others. Now they are like brands are not already mentioning like Dentsu Publicis Group and many others. Right now in the game industry, we talk about these new agencies who were born and providing 360 solutions. But budgets are starting like, if we are talking about the UGC gaming platforms like Roblox, Fortnite, and Minecraft, it starts from 250K plus, and then in some cases going up to million if we are talking about full-scale game with its own marketing budget. And then most of the times, marketing budget is higher than the especially game it's itself game development, right? Because when you build the full standalone game, many brands and agencies miss the fact that even though Roblox has 75 million users daily, it doesn't mean that your game will be getting those user base. And especially when in Fortnite, right? We know Fortnite has monthly 350 million active monthly players, but when brand is doing activation in Fortnite, it's not happening inside the Fortnite main game, right? So same is Roblox. There is a marketplace and there is 5 million games in Roblox, right? So chances that people are gonna discover your game is almost zero if you don't do any marketing for it, right? That's why brands should know that even though they're gonna be building the game, at least same amount of the money they should put what they're gonna be putting in the game development into the marketing, because otherwise people won't know about it. And then this was scaring many brands. That was one of my odd motivations why we create the marketplace. And then this trend is started happening back in 2023. Adidas was one of the first one who did the cross game activation. They didn't do their own game, but they chose the 7 active games in Roblox. Each of them we are getting around 20-25 million active users monthly, and they were sport related, right? So, and then that's what we are pushing brands and agencies, right? You don't have to spend the huge budgets, which is million plus, but you can actually partner up with active games with the integration, which can be not through billboards, but you can bring your 3D models, small quests, and leaderboards, and do the 1 month or 2 months activation, which will cost you like as low as like 50K or 40K or 100K. So it depends like ranges. And then basically you will understand that, okay, this space is pretty cool with me. And then what's cool about it now is many brands also start using the UGC item strategy before, which is amazing tool to create your community, create the Discord groups from these players, and then talk with them, and then even test ideas with them, with your community, which kind of game you are planning to develop. So what's different in this space is that community involvement. We have not touched this, we briefly talked about it, but like in Web3 space, where community is fully involved, now what's happening with Gen Z and Gen Alpha, right? They right away exchange feedback, and this was never happening before, right? So when we see advertising in the billboard on Facebook, we don't give a feedback, but in the gaming industry, all the brands are creating Discord groups like Walmart and many others, and directly talking with their community. And then so budgets can be varying in Roblox, as I mentioned. If you do the collaborations, UGC items, and don't build your own game, you can be under 50K. In Roblox, in Decentraland and Sandbox, prices are varying from 5 to 15, 20K. It's very small platforms. And then even now we see lots of movies, chills, kids cartoons movies like Garfield, Kung Fu Panda 4, and many others doing activations in the Roblox, because their main channel before was YouTube Kids, right? But YouTube Kids has lots of limitations how you can do the content there. And then since most of those kids are also playing in Roblox, in every country we check the analytics, like Roblox has very higher percentage in terms of like Gen Alpha. I'm mentioning Gen Alpha specifically, not Gen Z, right? And then we see like Universal and many others like collaborating with couple of the games to push their campaigns, because when the movie is launched, there's no point to have this game there, right? So they and then they had very huge box offices while doing Roblox activation. So that's the budgets. And then every agency, please find some companies. Look, if you go directly to the gaming studio and then working with them, it wouldn't bring the huge impact. Always try to have the consultants who will be able to help you to create the nice brief, and then who will be independent and will be recommending you which platform will be best for you. Not like, because if you go with a gaming studio who is specializing in Roblox, for sure they're gonna be pushing Roblox. If you go to the studio who is specializing in decentralized, they're gonna push decentralized, right? So that's why we have a couple of the already cool companies like Geek, MetaView, and many others who you can talk with and then get the consulting, and then who will be helping you create the nice brief for the agencies.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. Let's go on the topic of creators, and they're very huge part of all these
Yes.
activations. So tell us more how they can get involved, how this is this space for them, why they should be involved.
Yeah. So first of all, like we see boosting creator economy, and then this boosting creator economy started with like digital, YouTube, TikTok, and that's also content created, right? So now we are moving into 3D content creation era, which is enabling many young people to find their dream work and then enjoy at the same time what they do. And then what I see is that I see like global collaborations. This is like why I love Roblox, right? So, for example, my cousin from Republic of Georgia, which is very far away in Eastern Europe, having friends and co-founders in US, they were playing Roblox when they were 14. Now they are 17, and then they have their own small gaming studio, and then working with big agencies, because big agencies don't want to move into gaming, and they always employ small creators and gaming studios who are developing work for them, right? Execution, like agencies coming with creative, and then creator is just basically doing this 3D work, logic of the game, and physical. So I will ask and motivate every creator who is just starting, just find the collaborators. A lone person is always sad doing things alone. It's always good to have some friend next to you who is always like, yeah, collaborative work is something I love most and I push about it. And then find the agencies, don't be scared to reach out to them. And then if you reach out big brands and you are small, they're never gonna talk to you because they are used to enterprise level of work, right? That's what agencies are for. So always try to work with many agencies, collaborate with other creators, and push forward, right? And then Roblox or other platforms are very good opportunity for you to find the partners, right? Every game has its own Discord groups, and then that's what I see, and that's why I call, instead of UGC gaming platforms, social gaming platforms, because I see people finding friends, communicating there, and then when they grow up, they don't leave the Roblox. When I grew up, I'm not playing GTA anymore, right? I left this platform, but I was playing very actively when I was a kid. And what I see in Roblox and Fortnite, people don't leave this platform, and they just continue working, building, finding friends, meeting them physically after that. So yeah, that's my recommendation for creators. Finally, collaborate with as many people as possible, and then if you will directly reach out to brands and they don't respond, don't get upset, because that's how it happens in most of the cases. So
this was actually one of the takeaways for me when I attended the talk that the Universal Studio partnership. I don't think it was you on that panel, but at AWE, they were talking about how partnerships are so important, and even brands prefer when different agencies and creators are partnering. And we see several examples of that. Even with the latest Walmart activation, we saw it was the collaboration of several agencies, freelancers, and so on. So definitely collaboration is the way to go, and it is one of the ethos of Web3. So let's talk about the future now. We talked about all the exciting stuff from past, present, and let's touch on the question from Chris. What is the future of decentralized advertising from your perspective?
Is that fair for you? Okay. So basically, I think that decentralized advertising will be rewarding every user involved into it, and then basically, I love the IPs bringing into this case, right? So decentralized and blockchain are giving us the best option to track and see how every user is engaged, and then especially like if you are bringing IPs, how then these things can be distributed between users engaged. That's what I like about the decentralized advertising, right? And then right now, decentralized advertising took a bit different road. We see many companies like Cookies Free and many others who are bringing new level of advertising and CRM options into Web3 space. They analyze lots of wallet addresses, and then basically they create the customer profiles, which is basically was impossible before. And then they analyze all the data and then track the user flows, and then to different type of airdropping them some presents and things like that. But I'm really sure like blockchain technology and decentralization can be very nicely used to track like how much you should pay creator, how much you should pay to each parties, right? So yeah. And then bringing IP brands is very, very unique thing, even in decentralized and then centralized worlds. And we are working very actively for the IP brands, which with IP brands, which I will be teasing a little bit at the end of the show.
Yeah, let's get into it. Tell us, your predictions about the space overall and where you're kind of putting your focus and energy on, and how our audience and community can support you.
Okay, so first of all, every year is very exciting in this space, but this year we've seen like lots of development, and what I was always looking for. Brands started like collaborating with different creators and game providers to do the activations there, rather than building standalones, because we really don't need like 200 branded games, right? And especially like I want to tell the brands like gamers at the end of the day hate advertising, right? And then as a gamer, I also hate advertising. That's why I hated like billboards, right? At some point, that's when we disabled billboards
Like
at
even
all.
ads
So
for the TV,
yeah,
something.
yeah. So because and then usually like brand is spending huge amount of money to bring users to the branded experience, because everybody Gen Alpha and Gen Z are very smart people, and then they are mostly influenced by their create icons and influencers rather than like brand is doing something, right? That's why brands are trying to use creators and many other things. But if the brand is integrating on one of the tycoon or Obi on the bike and or couple of the games in Roblox, which people love, they it's more native and unique way rather than okay, like we have thousands of branded games, nobody wants to visit it, and at the end of the day, it's waste of the money in the economy. And then yeah, that's how I see it. I don't say that branded games are bad. They should be, but every brand doesn't need to have their own branded game. That's the idea. And then how I see the space will be developing, it will become more mainstream media channel. We will see more and more categories jumping into the space. I even have seen American Heart Association doing activation in Roblox. I was surprised. It's no more fashion and entertainment. Every industry will be in this space trying it out, and then prices budgets, which I talked about, will be moving down since the advancements in generative AI while producing 3D content. Even Roblox is working integrating in their builders some generative AI. Since it will be like happening, and then I see we still need 1.5 years to have the better options of 3D model generations. Then the prices will move down, and then many brands will be jumping that year. And then what excites me, we are working on is like kids education. As a parent of two daughters, I love this space, and then I really think the immersive space can transfer how we do the education interactively. And then quick teasing, like we are working with big IP brands in kids education industry. While leveraging them, we will be trying to transfer how education is happening in the age groups of 3 to 12. So that's biggest motivation of myself. I cannot share anymore, but I'm sure like sometimes in the Q3 we will be able to join you again and then discussing more about education.
Amazing. I appreciate it so much. This was an insightful conversation. How can people find you? How can they support you? Tell us about that.
So first of all, anybody can reach me out on my LinkedIn, Nodo Ivanidze, like you see my name here. And I'm pretty open. if you are a creator or agency, if you want to learn more, we have like educational program for agencies for free. We share you all the information. And on the other side, if you're a creator and looking for help in your game, in monetization, we are here to help. Don't hesitate. I'm always looking for amazing connections, so feel free to reach me out.
Thank you so much for your time and insightful advice that you shared with us. Thanks to our amazing community. Ian and Chris, I appreciate all of your engagement and comments and questions. Always insightful. Next week on Tuesday, like always, we have another amazing guest. We have Louis from Wari. He was also a panelist with me at AWE, and he is building a platform that provides simplicity for AR apps deployment and scalability. He is, I think, based in Japan. So very exciting stuff, and hearing from the other side of the world what's happening in Japan. That would be an exciting conversation. So definitely join us next week. Again, thank you so much to everyone who contributed in this session. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.